The Kingdom of Brittany was the last Celtic state of continental Europe and is often forgotten, although it has an interesting history. Until the final integration of Brittany into the French nation in 1532, the local dukes and kings ruled independently, although they were sometimes nominal vassals of the Carolingian emperors of the West, the French kings and sometimes the English. In the Viking Age, this state became one of the most tasty morsels for Scandinavian raiders and conquerors. The 9th and 10th centuries were an era of ongoing warfare in this small peninsula. These lands tried to conquer the great leaders of the Vikings, Norman dukes, and Angevin counts. Often Brittany suffered defeat, but there were exceptions, as during the reign of Alain the First Great. His father was Richard, Count of Vin in Nantes. After the death of King Solomon in 874, Brittany was seized by a serious political crisis and an interregnum, and if in the west the kings of Brittany were representatives of the House of Rennes, then in the east, of Nantes. And this was one of the reasons for the political fragmentation of the region. This was also influenced by the decomposition of the Carolingian Empire. In 888, recognizing the threat of the Vikings, the two houses unite to resist the conquerors. The House of Nantes was represented by the same Alain I, not yet a king, and Rennes by King Judical. In the same year, their alliance defeats the Vikings at Castamber. Judical did not survive the battle, but Alain was able, and there he was recognized as the king of Brittany by the united Breton army. In the same year, the final collapse of the Frankish Empire takes place, and Alain becomes not only the sole ruler of Brittany, but also completely independent. By 890, Alain finally defeats the Vikings, and until the death of the great king, the situation in Brittany stabilizes. Yes, after his death, Brittany again finds itself in a deep crisis caused by external invasions. But Alain's merit is that he was able to give his people a period of peace in those turbulent times, as well as unite disparate lands in the face of a common enemy. Alain was the first to die in 907. The succession was disputed and the Count Gourmet of Cornouaille seized the throne. Brittany was soon overrun by the Vikings, who defeated and slew Gourmelin in battle in 913/914 and held the region until 936, when Alain's grandson was the first. Alain too returned to Brittany from exile in Aethelstan from England, defeated the Vikings and managed to restore Christian rule. However, the geographic territory of Brittany was never as extended as in the time of Alain I, and no future Breton rulers were called kings until the crown of the Breton dukes was merged with the French crown in the 16th century. Authors who specialize in the history of Brittany disagree on Alain's origins.